So August has finally come to an end, and with that, it's time to rank all the August films I saw. This one isn't going to be as long of a list as July, and September will probably be even shorter than this one. As in July, I had a total of 8 total films, which is, like I said, is probably my biggest haul for just 1 month as far as reviews go. This month I only have 5, and this month I'm probably only gonna have 4, but I have 5 for August since I scrapped the 6th one, and it's time to rank them. And honestly, when it came to, for all of these, I had a guess ranking. I guessed how I was gonna rank all of these. I was correct on 2, the number 3 spot and the number 1 spot. The rest of these were shuffled around like no tomorrow. So, let's get into it. Coming in last place is Sweet Girl. Was there any surprise? If you watched my Sweet Girl review, you know I think it's one of the worst films of the year. It's nonsensical, it's stupid, with one of the worst plot twists I've ever seen in a film. The acting is terrible. The action sequences, you can't see a damn thing due to all the close-ups and all the shaky cam. And this film is damn near unreleasable. Because so much of the stuff, there are so many scenes that needed to either be cut down or cut out entirely. There are entire scenes of this film that you could cut and not miss a thing. This movie's an hour 50 that I am never getting back. This was an atrocious movie, and I hope Netflix pulls their head out of their ass and stops making shitty films like this. Coming in 4th place is The Suicide Squad. Talk about disappointing. James Gunn is a really good filmmaker, and he can do some great stuff, but unfortunately, a lot of the movies he's been associated with are just awful. The Scooby-Doo movies he wrote were terrible, although it wasn't really his fault, but still, they weren't good. He was associated with movie 43, one of the worst comedies ever made. And then there's this, which is mediocre schlock. Compared to the first Suicide Squad movie, it's a damn masterpiece, because the first one, the first one couldn't even get its scenes in the right order. This movie at least had its scenes in the correct order. And the performances, for the most part, were pretty good. I liked Idris Elba's Bloodsport, even if he was just a carbon copy of Deadshot from the first movie. John Cena, surprisingly, didn't get on my nerves as much. Stallone was freaking awesome as King Shark. And honestly, I like Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. He did fine. Unfortunately, there are a few of the characters I just don't care about. Like, I hate Harley Quinn. I've never understood the appeal of Harley Quinn, and I'm sick of seeing her in these movies. They had her in Suicide Squad, then they had her in Birds of Prey, and then they shoved her into this. And she had a subplot that could have been hacked out with a machete, and should have been hacked out with a machete. Most of the characters have, like, no backstory to them, and when you do see, you see, like, 3 minutes of it if you're lucky. And the action is hit and miss. Some of the scenes are pretty cool. Like, they got some good choreography to them when they're fighting regular people. But then the final battle with Starro the Conqueror is so pathetic that it's just people standing around and shooting it. And the fact that it's taken out by Ratcatcher and Harley Quinn is just plain embarrassing. So, this movie's a mixed bag, and honestly, it's showing that the DCEU isn't getting any better. It's showing that it's still stuck in the same rut it's been in since 2013. Bringing us into our top 3 is Vevo. I had no idea what to expect out of this film, and honestly, I expected it to be just another mediocre film, but honestly, it was better than I was expecting. I thought Lin-Manuel Miranda did pretty good as Vevo. I thought pretty much all the voice actors did their job pretty well. The songs were pretty good for the most part. There are some songs that are really good. There are some songs that are just alright, and then there's 1 or 2 that are just plain awful, especially Gabby's first song, that, having insult to injury, also played during the end credits, was freaking atrocious. The animation looks pretty good. That's one thing Sony Animation does well, is their animation, whether their movies suck or not, because Sony has not the greatest track record. Like, I know they made Into the Spider-Verse, great. They made Mitchell vs. the Machines, great. And they made this, great. 2 decent films and 1 great film does not take away from the scars of the Hotel Transylvania films, the Emoji Movie, and and the first Angry Birds movie. Actually, that wasn't that bad. The Angry Birds movies first one's okay, second one's actually really good, but I'm getting off track here. So, most of the bare essentials you need for a good movie are here, but it does also have a lot of pointless side characters that are there just to bloat the story. I did appreciate how dark it got in the first 10 minutes by having his owner just up and die just 10 minutes into the film. That surprised me, because they did not tease that in the trailer one bit. So I do appreciate this film, and I think it's an okay watch. And like I said, the music's fine the music's pretty good for the most part. I thought the performances were fine, but pretty much everything in this film is fine. That's the best way I can describe it. It's fine. I think I give it like a 3.5 out of 5. I still stand by that. I think it's a pretty decent film that does have some issues, but honestly, compared to a lot of the other films I've seen this year, a lot of the other animated films that I've seen in the last couple years while doing this show, it could have been way worse. Our runner-up is Paw Patrol the movie. Why in the name of God's green earth was this better than the Suicide Squad? Why was this good? I don't know why. I know even shows aimed at little kids can still be good. Most adults, people who do this, especially the people who gave negative reviews to this on Rotten Tomatoes, will tell you that because it's aimed at little kids, it's automatically shit. It's not. Because I know there are plenty of TV shows that can appeal to all audiences. I think the 3 examples I gave in my review were Avatar, Clone Wars, and Troll Hunters. Those can appeal to all ages, but some shows that just appeal to kids doesn't make it automatically bad. There are a lot of movies that appeal just to kids, something like Trolls. I don't care for the Trolls movie, but that still got pretty positive reviews, pretty much around the same score as Paw Patrol, so movies aimed at little kids and shows aimed at little kids can still be good, as long as they have decent writing to back it up. This film surprisingly does. I don't know why. I don't know why this film's unlike something like the first Boss Baby, which was a movie aimed at toddlers that had some of the worst writing I've ever seen for an animated film. The second movie was like you saw my review, it was But the first one is awful, and it had some of the worst writing I've ever seen when it comes to kids movies. This one actually had some pretty good writing. I thought the conflict that the heroes had was actually pretty good. Was actually not only pretty relatable for some people, but actually made sense. Even if it does have the fact that I forgot to mention in my review that some of the dogs just do fuck all in this. There are a couple of pups that don't do anything until the very end, especially Zumba, the orange one. I don't even think has a line until the climax, which is the last 20 minutes of the film. I don't even think he has a line until then. But honestly, I like the conflict that Chase has with the city, and one that kind of riffles between him and Ryder because he's not being able to perform. I thought the villain, while his stupidity caused a lot of coincidences that ended up moving the plot forward, I like these over-the-top villains when it comes to kids' movies like this because they're just so unapologetically over-the-top that they remind me of the Disney Renaissance villains, like I said in my review. And I miss those kind of villain days when it didn't all have to be this huge plot twist villains like they have they now have with Callahan, Bellwether, Taka, and Hans in particular. Ugh. So I like villains like this, but like I said, the problem is that his overly stupid nature ends up pushing the plot forward due to coincidence. And one of the basic rules of storytelling is coincidences that get people into trouble is good. Ones that get them out, or one I kind of added to it, ones that push the plot forward is cheating. Coincidences that push the plot forward is cheating, and that's what they kind of do here. Because all of this stuff goes horribly wrong, and you know it's supposed to, and while it's funny, it kind of leaves something to be desired there. But honestly, I thought this was actually really good. I don't know why. So, yeah, I actually recommend this, especially if you have kids. But, of course, coming in the number 1 is Free Guy. I had no doubt about this whatsoever. I called that this was going to be the best film of the year before the year even started. I called that this is going to be the best film of the year. From what I've seen for the reviews for Shang-Chi, that might take the top spot. But for right now, Free Guy is the best film of the year, even beating out some of its pretty heavy competition like Black Widow, Cruella, and Rise of the Titans. So yeah, pretty much everything in this film works. I like how the real world and the video game world interact, similar to something that happened with Wreck-It Ralph. And all the performances are great. Ryan Reynolds is super likable as the lead. And I like all the other actors. I like that Joe Keery's character, I believe his name is Keys, where he's not just this clueless henchman, kind of like his friend is, that he's just following along whatever Taika Waititi says. I think it's Antoine is that guy's name. But he kind of does it first because he's just doing his job. But then he realizes all the shady stuff Antoine's been up to, and he starts working with Millie to take him down again. So I like what they did with this character. I like all the characters in this. I like all the NPCs, and it had some of my favorite moments in it. Like this scene where Guy talks to Buddy, and he's talking about, what would you do if you found out that your entire life wasn't real? And Buddy says, this moment right here, me helping my best friend, is real. And that's probably one of my favorite scenes to come out of this year. Even Sweet Girl had a scene similar to this, where Momoa talks to the hitman, and they have, Momoa's character talks to the hitman, and it's actually a really well done scene. Makes it worse when you see the twist, but that was the scene that actually worked. And Paw Patrol had one of these too, where between Jason and Ryder. And so, and again, I keep bringing this up, there's the Snake Eyes scene with the first challenge. I like scenes like this, and Free Guy has a lot of them, especially this one. So it not only has some of my favorite scenes of this year, it also has some really funny moments. Like, in the entire final battle is hilarious, where Fox really took advantage of the Disney buying them out in this final battle, and it was including a cameo that was nothing short of brilliant. So this is still the best film of the year. It's the only one to get a 5 out of 5. 2 others were close, but this is the first one to get a 5 out of 5, and it was well deserved. So that's all I've got for August. Next month is September, and I only have 4 films. One of them's a Netflix My Little Pony movie? What? And the other one, Cinderella? No. Dear Evan Hansen? Oh, crap. Never seen the musical. Ooh, Shang-Chi. At least I got that to look forward to. So, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe for more reviews and rankings like this, and what other August movies did you see this month? Are there any that I should have seen that I didn't? Or what's your ranking of the August films that you saw? Or even just the ones I saw? So, yeah, that's all I've got for August. And if you'll excuse me, Cinderella's going to kill me. Although I think I'm going to do a film face-offs first. And you won't know what it is until it's released. Which at the time of recording this will probably be a couple hours, so what's the point of building suspense?